Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. Paul here at Paul Phillips Fix. I got my 2007 BMW K1200R Sport. Anybody that knows about this bike knows it comes with high compression, 13:1. But they're also stringently tuned for emissions regulations, so they run very lean. Some people will choose to go with a power commander to enrich in their fuel air mixture. I chose to go with what's called a booster plug that's been installed. I'll show you where it is on this other camera right here. At the bottom of the air box, right here, there's your air intake temperature sensor. So this booster plug unit right here plugs into that. Then the computer plugs into the booster unit. What this does is it will cause the computer to enrich in the air-fuel mixture more at idle conditions and under heavy load. So I should have better engine performance, more power, and it'll actually lower the internal combustion chamber temperatures a little bit, because when you run lean, the engine combustion chamber gets very, very hot, and that's not good for the engine. So a cooler combustion chamber is better for the health of the engine, and it will help deliver more power. The overall performance should be increased, not at great cost of fuel economy. So I made a video yesterday taking this apart and doing the booster plug, and today I'm going to do the reassembly for somebody that wants to see the reassembly. So on the fuel tank here, there are two plugs, a 4-prong and a 3-prong. These are the female connectors right here. Now, to remove these plugs, you have to lift up on the little finger on the tank. I have plastic on here to keep dirt out. There's little fingers right here. You got to lift those up. There's a little nipple on the plug that clip goes to. You see that little nipple right there? So you have to lift up that little tab to get these plugs out. I used hose pliers, where I could get the two fingers from the pliers on here and pull it out. They don't give you much room to grab these plugs. So a set of hose clamp pliers always comes in handy. I have 3 different sizes. They bailed me out a lot of times on these weird connectors. Then to disconnect the fuel line, there's a switch, there's a release here that's spring loaded. You have to depress that and take the fuel line out. Now I'm going to be putting silicone on the O-ring of my fuel intake line here, so I don't damage the O-ring on reinstallation of it. So we're going to get ready to do that. Well, let me see, maybe I'll get my plugs connected first. I don't want to not be able to get to this. The plugs do not give me much wire, so I guess I am going to do the fuel line first. I wish I had Wendy here to help me. She could balance the tank for me, but I do not have her here today, so I'm on my own. And I'm hoping I don't screw anything up here. So with the GoPro 10, you're not going to be able to see too much. I'm just going to be putting those connectors back on. I put some dielectric grease on those connectors. I do not believe in using oil-based lubricants on O-rings, because you never know if the O-ring is susceptible to degrading from the oil petroleum-based lubricant. With a silicone lubricant, you can't go wrong. It's not going to damage any O-rings. I've never heard of an O-ring that could be damaged or break down from the use of silicone lubricant. So that's the route I always go. So you cannot get these plugs wrong. They only go one way. You see which way I'm routing this hose. I just want to make sure I route things where they're not tangled up with each other. All right. think I'm going to get my plugs in first. Smaller one and a larger one on the bottom. Nope, the other way around. So the small one is toward the center of the tank. The larger one is on top. Those are in. I got to get my fuel line on. It's got to come up and over here. This is where I could have used Wendy to balance this for a second. I do not want to strain these wires. Be gentle with this connector. They are fragile. Giving a little wiggle as I go in. There it is, it locked on. So that's the tank back in. There's a hose that I have to connect to the top of the tank. Let me get this battery tender off of here. This got to go back on my car. I'll do that after. Or maybe I'll hook it back up on the bike and leave it on there. It's no good to fully to charge a battery continually. I believe they sulfate is the term. I believe it's routed down through here. And then in, I'm going to put a little silicone on that as well. Just making sure I had all the hoses that I disconnected down there connected. I'm just going to take one more peek down inside there. I want to make sure there's nothing I'm missing. No, everything looks good. Everything looks tidied up. I'm going to pinch that hose there. I have these two supports. No, just for the other side. So these tank supports, the fasteners were Loctited on there. I'm going to Loctite them on as well. One of them had a thread locker that appeared red in color. I don't see why anybody would do this with red thread locker. I'm using blue so it can be removed easily if I want to pull this off again, which I'm gonna have to do eventually because I want to send the ABS unit out for to get rebuilt. So got my thread locker here. You don't need to go crazy with the thread locker. A little dab goes a long way with this stuff. These are just T30s that go into body clips. I'm not going to tighten anything right now. I'm just loosely fastening them. The shorter of the fasteners go on the side, and the longer ones go into the frame. So it's good to take note of that. I'm going to do the ones to the frame now on this side. I am going to need my ratchet for that. Be cautious not to cross-thread anything. You don't want to lift the strain of the tank off of this. I'm not liking the way that one feels. Feels like it's binding up. See if I can get this other one in first. I should have did these before I put the tank in, actually. If you're doing this, put your tank supports in first. Too late now. I'm not going through disconnecting those damn plugs again. They were a pain in the ass. That old thread locker is going to make it feel a little shitty anyway. There we go, that felt better. I'm going to actually snug this side up. I don't know the torque spec on this, but I have torqued fasteners this size and have an idea of how tight I should go. I want to thank you for tuning in. I would greatly appreciate it if you would give a like and subscribe. The big channels get all the views. They have this YouTube algorithm, and the people who make it just keep getting funneled more traffic, and the little guys fade away into the netherworld. So if you would give a like and subscribe, it would greatly help support the channel. I'm also an Amazon affiliate. I'll post links to tools and supplies I use. I am not sponsored by any of the products here or manufacturers. I just like the products and I've had good luck with them, and I wanted to share that with you. If you do purchase from there, a small amount comes out of Amazon's end and goes towards the channel. It's at no added cost to you, so that's another way you could support the channel. It does cost money to run a YouTube channel, sound equipment, video editing software, computer to run it, blah, 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 blah. And I'll put the baby crying on. Now my body clip is turning, which I'm not really thrilled about. I wanted it straight up and down the way it originally was. It really doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt anything. As long as it doesn't spin around. Don't go too crazy on the body clips. You can strip them out fairly easy. And try putting those bottom ones in first. Do not want to lose any of these fasteners. Move you guys over here. That frame's on a little bit of an angle, so it makes you think you're cross-threading it. I like working with these T-handles right here. When you got the room, they're quicker than fiddling around with a ratchet. Going to use a ratchet for the final tightening of these, because I'm used to the feel of the ratchet. Do these by hand some more. I'm glad I did not have a full tank of gas when I attempted to do this. I'm down below a quarter of a tank. That made it a hell of a lot easier to handle the tank. They do not give you much room on the wires for those two plugs that go to the fuel pump and the fuel level strip. They want to save a buck on wire by making it as short as they possibly can and improve profits. That's the bean counters at work, guys. Always looking to cut costs. I'm going to Loctite my seat anchors as well. Those are T40s, I believe. I backed it out until I felt it drop into the thread. And I don't like the way that's going in here. That feels real tight, man. Putting my bike back together.
Yeah, how you making up?
You right? Huh? Oh, I had a lot of shit off. Well, that's reassembly, guys. After putting in that plug, I still have to do the spark plugs on this, and I have to purge the cooling system of any air. I'll be doing that with a compressed air vacuum. It causes a venturi, which puts a vacuum on the system, and it'll purge the cooling system of any air that's in there, and that will suck the coolant back into the engine and fill up the whole cooling system on the bike without any air. You won't have to worry about bleeding anything. So that's a project for another day. I'm just glad I got the tank back on there where it belongs. I hope I didn't pinch that damn hose. No. For a minute there, I thought I pinched that hose between the bracket. I didn't. It's good. So I siliconed the booster plug over here. Let me show you where I put it. I put it right there. I don't know if your marking's gonna be the same on your bike, but I made sure I could clear the trumpet for the air intake there, for the throttle body intake. I didn't want it to hit that, so that should work. It's waterproof, sealed up, and this wire should not give me any problems with the body panels at all. So, all right, guys, thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. Whenever anybody tunes in, I've got a lot of work to do. I still have to do the final drive on this bike. I'm going to service that. I just put a new rear tire on it. I don't believe in following manufacturers' recommended intervals. I do things more often than that. Maintenance materials, oil, brake fluid, coolant is much cheaper than serious engine problems or any type of problems with your bike or vehicle. So take good care of them, guys. Take good care of your bikes, so take good care of you. Take good care of your families and the ones you love, and take good care of yourselves. We'll see you soon. We'll be back. Lots of stuff to do. What do I got to do? I got to do the spark plugs. What else? And the coolant, and on the final drive. Then I'm done, and I can go ride. I want to wear another tire out. So I've had this bike a little bit over a year, and I've put almost 20,000 miles on it already. So I'm into riding my bike. It's not a showpiece for me. It's a means of transportation and a lot of fun. So have fun out there, guys. Stay safe. There's a lot of crazy guys on the road. Oh, guys, I mean everybody. It means people, them, you, us, humans. Not sex specific. Just covering my ass. I don't want to piss anybody off. My neighbor's crazier than a shithouse rat. He's bored out of his fucking mind. And every time I'm making a YouTube video, he comes up and fucking distracts me. A little annoying.